From two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners, I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
I'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trades business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast.
In today's episode, we will be talking about KPIs, what they are, how you can use them to track the health of your business.
All right, guys, let's get into it.
A lot of people are not really familiar with what a KPI is. For those people listening and watching, could you describe what a KPI is and what it means?
So a KPI is a fancy word for a tracker. So KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. So it's just a tracker in your business, and you can create unlimited amounts of trackers based on your business needs. So today we're going to go over a few trackers that we use for our own personal businesses and how they help us, and also how we track things, the systems, the CRM softwares that we use, and then all the process from A to Z. So to start, one of the most important trackers that I think we have, and every business, besides if you're in trades, painting, construction, I think every business that sells something, the most important tracker that they need to have right off the bat, it's how many leads you generate. That's number one. You always have to keep track of how many leads, how many people come to your business, how many people call you, how many people reach out. That way you can see how much traffic your business gets. Most important thing to keep track of that is having a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet, for us, for an example, in the beginning, we did it very ghetto style. We had just an Excel sheet, not even an Excel sheet in the beginning. I just had a notebook. So every time a lead would come in, I was writing it down. I was writing down the name. I was writing down the address, email, type of project. What else?
Where it came from, if it was Google, website, or...
Yep, where it came from, the urgency, how soon they were looking to get the project done, and then if they were ready to hire or not. So in the beginning, we weren't getting as many leads, so it was easy to keep track of it in the notepad. And then the more we grew, the more leads we started getting every day. Sometimes we get like 30 leads a day. It was impossible for me to write down everything. So that's when we started using CRM softwares. The most common one that we use, because a lot of our leads come from Instagram and Facebook. So Facebook Ads Manager will have their own lead nurturing and or own kind of pipeline. So every time somebody DMs you, or every time they submit a form, or every time they reach out to you or the call, the CRM, the Facebook Ads CRM system will create an opportunity. So that's where we keep most of our leads, and then that way we can keep track of them. We can assign them to our sales rep. We can move them to the opportunity, to like the in progress, if we sold it or not, if we closed it, and then everything stays there. Another one that we use, that we recently start using, because we have different outlets that we get leads now, it's Go High Level. So it's pretty much an agency CRM that keeps track of all your leads, and also you can message them from there. You can have a generated number, like a business number, that you can have conversation with them. And then you can also have AI.
Our website has its own. We have, it basically sorts it out itself, because clients are choosing, like, hey, I have an interior painting, exterior painting project, cabinet painting, residential, commercial. So that is our own built-in into our website.
Yep, into our website, and we use Jot forms for that. And then our website people put that kind of like a landing page. They just fill out like a multiple question kind of questionnaire, and then the CRM will take it and will categorize it based on the interior, exterior cabinets. And then I like High Level. It's a little bit of more sophisticated platform, but you can keep track of leads that come in through the phone. You can keep track of leads that come through text, track leads that come through your website, track leads that come from your Google ad campaigns, track leads that come from your social media, and everything is in that one ecosystem. But if you're starting out, you don't have $300 a month for a fancy software system, or you don't have time to use a software system right off the bat, you can just create a simple spreadsheet on Excel, and then you can just put name, address, all the information that we mentioned earlier, and keep track. And then that way you can not only see who reached out to your business, how many people reached out to your business, but you can also use it as your follow-up. So once a lead comes in and then it goes in your CRM, or your spreadsheet, you can see the status of it and you can keep track of like, hey, this guy I need to follow up with, or this guy is telling me to go fuck myself. I'm too expensive. So that way you're organized and you're keeping track also of your marketing performance. Because I think a healthy business needs to have a certain amount of leads in order to hit your goals. What's another KPI that you think is good for us?
I think the amount of appointments booked per lead generated. Some leads, they might be cold leads where, they're just shopping around. But sometimes you get those hot ones and you get the appointment booked and have an estimate in person with them. That's a number we also like to keep track of. So we get our cost per lead basically down.
So what's a lead? A lead, it's every time somebody reaches out to your business and they leave you their phone number, their name, email address, or like house address. But that lead, it won't convert into an appointment or it won't convert into a sold job. So we have this KPI books, appointments booked. That way we can keep track of like, okay, we get 100 leads a week, but what's our appointment book percentage? So for out of 100 leads, we'll pre-screen like 80 of them, and we'll weed out all the tire kickers, all the window shoppers, all the people that are just shopping around or they're not ready to buy, because it costs money to go into every appointment. So we make sure our pre-screening system is good to weed out those people. And then the appointments that we book are all ready to buy customers and then ready to book the job pretty much. So that's why our percentage of booked appointments versus leads, it's usually around 20%. And that's a good KPI, a good percentage to keep track of, because you see the performance of your leads, how many good quality leads you get, and how many appointments you turn around. Pre-screening is huge, because once you scale and you go to a bigger level, then the amount of leads, it's going to increase. And to hit 100 leads a week, you need a sales team of 20 people to be able to maintain that volume. That's why you have to pre-screen all that. That way you're not wasting time. Because I tell a lot of business owners, every time you get into your car, first you spend 15 minutes on the phone with somebody, pre-screening them, interviewing them, kind of like speed dating them. And now they're like, oh, come out. I want you to come out to do a painting estimate. You're like, okay, I'll go. You haven't discussed price at all. And then you go there, you go through your sales process, you do your sales pitch, and then they're like, oh my God, it's going to cost me $6,000 to paint my cabinet? That's crazy. And then you're like, okay, you just wasted 3 hours of my time to just tell me that. And that's your fault. You should have had that conversation prior, like, hey, Mr. Homeowner, this project may cost anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 to get it done. Is this something that you expect to pay? And then they'll be like, yes or no, or that's too expensive, or yeah, that's something that I was expecting to pay. And then you hit them like, hey, would you like to schedule a consultation for us to come out, discuss your project in further detail, and discuss scheduling? That's when you book an appointment. Because if you book an appointment for every lead that comes in, and we used to do that in the beginning, every lead that came in, we're like, okay, let's just book an appointment and wing it. It's a faulty system, because you're gonna waste a lot of time. You're gonna beat yourself down because like, oh shit, I suck as a salesperson. But just not everybody's your customer there. Not every lead that you get in is meant to be your customer. That's why you have to have a good pre-screening method to weed out all those people.
Yeah, the implementation of price conditioning before we even go to the appointment really helped our closing ratio, save time.
So yeah, the implementation of pre-screening will save you time. It'll also weed out all the tire kickers, and then also it'll get you higher quality jobs, because those people that are interested, they're gonna be ready to buy when you go there, and you actually can close them and get the job.
And avoid the shock.
Yep. And then the third KPI that comes right after that is the jobs converted. So we have the KPI that tracks the leads, how many leads come in every week. Then we have the KPI that tracks leads converted to appointments. And then the third little brother that it's a KPI to those two, it's the jobs converted. So once we have the numbers of those two, then we look at the numbers from the booked appointments. how many jobs we converted, and then how many jobs we closed from those booked appointments. And that's a percentage that we also keep track, because if we close a lot of those book appointments, like you were telling me earlier, something might be wrong with your pricing. If you're closing too much, it's not good. It's not a good thing. Like a happy medium for us, from like, let's say from 10 booked appointments, we're happy if we close 3 to 4 based on our pricing process that we have. If we're closing 8 out of 10, then we go in the drawing board with our sales team like, hey, why are we closing so much? And then we look at the prices that we're shooting, and then we're trying to fine tune if we're doing something wrong. Because a lot of times when you close high, it's a red flag, at least for me, and at least for our organization.
And something I would want to touch up on is these 3 KPIs, the leads generated, appointments booked, and jobs converted. It's like a snowball effect that you can look back on and also give yourself feedback. If you're not closing too much, you can take a look at, hey, either your sales presentation is not, perfect, or your pricing might be off. So you can give yourself feedback and refine your sales process that way.
Correct. Yes. Also, how many leads are you getting that week? Has your week dipped? Is your marketing performing right? Why are you not booking X amount of appointments? Why is your booked appointments percentage down or up? What is going on? Those 3 kind of go hand to hand, because it's like a system that you need all 3 to be able to, like you said, refine and look what are you doing wrong. Also, what are you doing right? Are you hitting your targets? And if you're hitting your targets, it's a good sign. And those 3 will definitely help you keep track of that. So after you go through that sequence of 3 KPIs, then we have another very important one: gross profit margin. A lot of painters out there, a lot of people out there, they don't know the gross profit margin. They don't know how to track it. They don't know how to calculate it, and they don't know what it even means. So tell us a little bit what gross profit margin means to you.
So gross profit margin is, to put it into simple terms, let's say you sell a job for $10,000 and your expenses for that job, including operational costs, is $5,500, then your gross profit margin will be $4,500, which is 45%.
Yes.
That's basically the meaning of gross profit margin.
So pretty much how you calculate profit margin is how Karmelo explained in simple terms. You'll figure out your labor. You'll figure out your material cost and your overhead cost to run your business. And then whatever is left, whatever it is your take home, it's what your gross profit margin. No, it's not even the operating cost. It's materials, labor, and then gross profit margin from a job is going to be your gross profit. Then from that gross profit, you're going to deduct all your operating costs, and then you're going to find your net profit. But gross profit will tell you exactly how much money each job is making you, which is very important. You need to know how much money each job is making you. A good rule of thumb for us pricing out jobs is, like we said earlier in different episode, figure out your materials, figure out your cost, and multiply by 2. It's easy. That's 50% profit margin. That's the rule of thumb that you're going to be making money no matter what.
Or if you want to have a better closing ratio, and if you're just starting out and you just want to get your name out there, instead of 2x, you can have 1.75, 1.5. So that way you're in a happy medium of, 25%? And
whatever the percentage
25%
is.
25% all the way to...
We like keeping 40%. It simple. We're not
Mm-hmm.
scholars. We're not smart people. We just like keeping it simple. X amount of materials, X amount of labor. This is how much it takes me to run my business. How much do I want to make after that? That's the best way. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't have to make it sophisticated or have some mathematicians in your team to like run it. It's simple. And then we figure out the gross profit margin on each job. So after every job is done, we look at the numbers. We're like, okay, this job costs us $6,000 in labor, but we budgeted $5,000 in labor. Why did that happen? So you have to keep track of every job's gross profit margin, and then you have the average. Let's say you do 100 jobs a month, then you figure out your average, and then that way you can keep track based on that KPI if you're doing good, if you're doing shit, if you're breaking even, if you need to increase your prices, if you need to decrease your prices. That's a very important KPI that every business needs to have out there. And then the next one that we really like keeping track of, because our marketing budget is a little bit all over the place. We spend most of it goes into Instagram and Facebook ads. So we don't keep track of how many leads and how many jobs we keep per campaign. We just look at how much per month we spend on advertising, and then we figure out how much money that advertising brings us every month. So let's say we spend 10 G's a month in advertising on Facebook ads, and we do 100K in gross revenue. Then we calculate that ROI based on the ad spend that we had for the month. Always keep track of it that way. It makes it simple, and it shows us if we need to spend more to hit our goal, or if we have room to spend less, or if we, depends on, every month is different.
Another thing I would want to touch up on, if you have multiple marketing avenues going on, multiple campaigns, it also helps you see which avenue works best for me, which one am I getting more value for my per dollar spent on that marketing campaign.
Yes. So, for example, if you're somebody that runs multiple different marketing campaigns, so for example, you run Google ads, you run Facebook ads, then you run Nextdoor ads, or you use Thumbtack, Home Advisor, third-party aggregates, you need to keep track of each marketing campaign and outlet separately. Mm-hmm. So let's say you spend $10,000 on Home Advisor. You got to keep track of how many jobs you booked from it. And then if you spend $10,000 on ad spend, you have to see how much money you spent, how much money you generated from that ad spend, and then so on with Google and whatever else you're using. That way you can see the ROI of each marketing outlet that you're using. And then that way you can cut out the losers, because if they're not converting, if they're not bringing a lot of traffic, if they're not bringing a lot of work, then they're a loser. You have to cut it out. It's not a marketing technique that's working for you. And that's how we did it in the beginning, because we tried everything. We tried third-party aggregates, Home Advisor, Angie's, Thumbtack, and then we tried Google ads, we tried Nextdoor, we tried Facebook ads. So we figured out by using that KPI that, hey, this is what's working for us. This is what's generating more leads, more booked jobs, more money coming in. We figure out the ROI on each, and we're just gonna double down and push on the one that's giving us the best results. And then that way we weed out all the losers. And then another one that goes hand to hand with that one is the cost per lead and the cost per booked appointment. So that's a different KPI that goes hand to hand with the ROI, because we want to figure out what's my cost per lead on each marketing outlet and what's my cost per booked appointment. Because let's say one marketing outlet might get you 100 leads, but you're only booking 10 appointments. That's a very high cost per booked appointment. And then another one might get you 30 leads, but you're booking 20 appointments. Then your cost per booked appointment is less. So I would go with the second one, because I'm getting more booked appointments. I don't want hundreds of leads. I just want booked appointments, good qualified customers. And that KPI will help you understand which marketing outlet is performing better based on that need. Anything else that you want to touch on that?
No, I think you pretty much said it well. You don't want thousands of leads and then 5 booked appointments. You want a good ratio between the two.
Yep. Because you can get leads. It's easy to getting leads. You just run a good offer out there. Or I can't remember, I was watching a video the other day, hey, you can run leads, you can give a free iPad or a free car, and then people will put their name and their address, they'll put the information in. But that's not a good lead. They're just in there because they want to win the free iPad. You want qualified customers that they're going to convert to booked appointments and they're going to convert to sold jobs. You can't really just look at the volume of leads that you get. You have to look at the quality, and you have to see how many jobs, how many booked appointments convert to jobs.
So what is a good percentage, you would say? So for every 100 leads, what's the ideal range of booked appointments?
I would say the ideal range based on our own data would be 30%. Mm-hmm. That would be perfect. But it ranges. For example, in January, February, which are significantly slower months, or holiday season, it might drop to 20%. So I would say anywhere from 20 to 30% is a good range between the two numbers. If you're booking way more than that, then you either have a huge sales team and you have commission sales reps that you're trying to keep busy, and then you have them out there hunting. or you just done your pre-screening method is not really good. I think like if your pre-screening method is not good, you're gonna run into a lot of bad apples out there, and you're gonna waste your time. So keep it between 20 to 30% to keep a good, happy balance. That way, your book appointments convert to sold jobs.
That's a good point.
Because I would look again, all three of those KPIs: leads generated, appointment book, and then sold jobs. You have to look at all three. All right, so the next KPI that we really pay attention to is the average job price sold. So a lot of people out there, they don't know how to calculate that. I didn't know how to calculate that as well. So the best way to figure it out is like, let's say you did 100 jobs in January, and then you did $360,000 in revenue. You calculate those numbers, and then you divide it by 100. So 360,000 you divide by 100, and then you get your average size per job is 3,600. And then that way your average ticket sold is $3,600. So that's pretty much the rule of thumb. That's just like very generic math.
Having that KPI, what helps you in your data tracking? Like, how does that help you out?
So what it really helps me out is because, for example, like us, we really focus on the high ticket jobs. So I gave an example of 100 jobs, which it just made my math easier. I don't try to do 100 jobs a month. I try to do like 10 jobs a month, which do me $50,000 to $100,000 each. So that KPI really helps me track on my average cost per, like average job sold, because a lot of times I don't want to be doing the little ones. So we want to focus on getting like the higher tickets, like 10 Gs plus, bigger jobs, because they're easier to manage. Also, the volume is not as much, because doing 100 jobs versus 20 jobs and generating the same gross revenue, it's way better doing less volume. It's less to manage, less headaches, less things go wrong. And also you're dealing with less customers, because a lot of times customers, they're a headache. So the more customers you deal with, the more headaches you're going to get. That's why I like keeping it. That's why I like keeping track of that KPI, because let's say we dip a month and we're doing more smaller tickets. I'm like, okay, I got pushed for more higher tickets. For example, like a full interior, full remodel, full exterior repaint. So that KPI helps me adjust my marketing, what to market for. Or if we're getting more cabinet jobs, which cabinet jobs are smaller tickets, I'm like, okay, maybe this month I won't advertise as much for cabinets. I'm going to advertise more for interiors. So that's the reason I think it's an important KPI, at least for myself, to keep track of, because it helps me navigate where my marketing budget is going to go towards to, and also what jobs I want to get in.
Okay, so it basically helps you determine if a job is worth it for you to spend the time to, nurture the lead, go to the appointment, close it.
Yep.
If it's going to be a profitable project.
It always is a profitable project.
Is, but you can use your, let's say, guys somewhere else.
Exactly.
More money.
So I keep track of it. So I like keeping my average job over $10,000, because I want the bigger tickets. Because again, it's not about the money. Every job is going to make us money, but less volume means less headaches. That's the main reason for that KPI. I'd rather do 20 jobs that are going to make me $300,000 than doing 100 jobs that are going to make me $300,000. That's what we all like to strive for. Less headaches, less jobs, less management, less things that can go wrong.
Got it. The next one I'm seeing here, average crew performance in dollars. So that would have to be you as a person knowing how your crew performs, right?
So that one will come up with a little bit later. We're going to talk about job cost analysis. So we run at massive scale. We run multiple crews, and then our crews are performance pay. How that KPI comes in place based on how much each crew performs. So for example, let's say crew A, 4 guys, they perform $20,000 a week, versus crew B, which performs $15,000 a week, are the same 4 guys. So that KPI helps me keep track of the output that every crew produces. Because let's say when we're running our schedule for the sales guys, we're like, hey, every sales guy has a dedicated crew. That way they understand their output. Because if you take crew B that we said does $15,000 a week, and you sell $30,000 a week for them, and you try to like give them all this work, they won't be able to perform it. So that KPI helps understand how much work you can sell for each dedicated crew.
Helps determine the output of each crew you have. So that way you're not using a $20,000 a week crew and a $10,000 a week job.
Correct. Yes. So you're like, okay, it's a very important KPI that helps you with the production on the field, how much you sell versus how much they can produce. So only when you know their performance and you know their output, you can sell equally. Yeah. You can sell accordingly and equally based on their output. So that's why I love that KPI for the field side of our business operation and all that. And then another one that goes hand to hand. Again, we're very into data now. We track pretty much everything. Another one that goes into following the average crew performance in money and gross revenue is the average job completion time per category. So we'll break down every project. So we'll go from like a medium-sized kitchen, large kitchen, small kitchen, and then medium-sized interior, large interior, exteriors.
Yada, yada.
So we'll break everything down and be like, okay, a medium-sized kitchen takes me 3 to 4 days to complete. A large-sized kitchen takes me less than 6 days. And then same thing with the interiors. Like a 5,000 square feet interior is going to take me 7 working days. Or a smaller one will take me 5 working days. That way, that KPI, only reason I have it, it's because it helps me understand the output of each crew. Because when we sell jobs, we keep in mind who's going to be on it already. So when we go to an appointment, let's say go to estimate an exterior, I already know which crew I'm going to have on it because I know they're going to get it done in 4 to 5 days because that's a crew's output. They get those projects done in 5 days. Instead of putting a crew like the new crew that we just hired, that's two guys.
Too slow.
Yeah, we can't put those guys. They're too slow. They're going to be in the kitchen for 10 days. And then that helps determine which job goes to where.
To which crew, so that way you're also landing your promised deadline. So that way the client is not waiting longer for you.
Exactly. We're very big into if we say it's going to be done in 5 days or 10 days, whatever the number is, we are always on point. And then that KPI helps me and us be always on point. So we don't over promise and under deliver.
Exactly.
Huge. And then also keeps things organized. It keeps the workflow. Like each crew knows where it's going to be coming up next 2 weeks. And you also know which crew is going to be where, and it helps you sell accordingly. Because a lot of times, because we don't just go out on the street and find a random crew and then we put them to work. Our system doesn't work like that. A lot of times our crews have to go through training. We have to show them our processes, so they're not ready to get on the field and perform at the output that we need them to perform. So those KPIs help us keep track of how much we can sell this month based on what we have booked. Because if we're at full capacity and we don't have any other crews, then we're not selling. Or we'll tell the customers like, hey, I can't get to it until 3 months or 2 months. We can't. We're not gonna overpromise you and not perform. So those 2 KPIs, once you start running at a larger scale, you have to keep track of. It'll help you stay organized, keeping your promises to your customers, and getting projects done more efficiently.
Yeah, it's also nice because it keeps a nice, tidy schedule, and you're also not overloading your crews. So that way they're not always performing at maximum capacity, but they're performing to the output close to their maximum.
Yes, because you cannot overwhelm your crews.
Exactly.
It's very important to not overwhelm your crews and not overwork them. Mm-hmm. I know everybody wants to make money and be out there working 12 hours, but you get burned out. You cannot overwork yourself. You cannot overwork your crews. You cannot overwork your guys because then things start going bad. The efficiency drops. The quality drops. So those 2 KPIs will help you stay on point on all those things.
And then the last one here I see is ROI on outreach and key relationships. Can you touch base on that?
All right. So that's my secret little KPI that I use for our key relationships and then outreach. So what's key relationship outreach? It's every time we take somebody out, we send them a gift card, we buy them a Starbucks gift card or like lunch, or we give them a referral fee, or we take a bunch of people out to dinner, or we take a bunch of contractors to the strip club, all those things. So we look at money spent. So let's say for the month this month I spent $10,000 on outreach and key relationships by taking people out, giving referral fees. And then I look at how much work those people actually brought in based on the outreach that we did and the money that we invested in those key relationships. So let's say we spend $10,000 a month on outreach and referral fees, but they bring us $100,000 worth of work. Then that's the ROI that I look to calculate based on how much money I'm spending. Is it performing? Is it working? Or am I just taking people out and then
freeloading?
So that's the thing. Like, you always have to be mindful on how you spend money on people. And we're very big into key relationships and outreach. And it brings us the highest tickets. So I like having that KPI to keep track of, like, hey, every month I spend X amount, and every month I get X amount of worth of work. And also that's a parenthesis. You don't have to get a specific, but I have different KPIs based on different designers, different realtors, different contractors, based on how much money they drive, how much work, how much money they bring to the business based on the referrals and the work.
So a high performer, would your focus be mostly on them, is what you're saying? So if we have a high performer that, let's say, brings you $120,000 worth of work.
All right, I'll give you guys an example. So we work for 2 designers. We work for many, but like 2 exclusive designers that only use us. Mm-hmm. So last year, one designer brought us $850,000 worth of work, and the other one brought us $500,000 worth of work. So those will be my high performance. Mm-hmm. And obviously, when they're performing that much better, I'm going to spend way more money on them versus trying to take the guy that brought me a little kitchen cabinet job to dinner and entertain them and all that. So yeah, we'll break it down to high performance based on how much traffic they drive in and how much money we close through them. And then based on the KPI, we'll be able to track on how much can we spend on them. It's kind of like loyalty points.
So yeah, it's like a tier level is what I was going to say. So if you have like an entry one, okay, you can just give them like $100 gift card or whatever. Mid-grade, just take them out to a nice dinner, like one of your nice restaurants, Ocean Prime, something like that.
Yes, or you give them like $200 in cash gift card, or I don't know. That's what we usually do. We do cash gift cards. We take them out to dinner. We'll do like events.
The Olympian Loyalty Rewards Program.
Yeah, exactly. A little pro tip. If you want to get connected with supervisors, superintendents, GCs doing big projects, those guys love the strip club. Take them always there. Take them there, show them a good time. And then after that, what I do is a little nice trick. You can use it for your business once you scale. Be like, hey, every job I sell to you, I'll do a referral fee. And those guys are the ones who get me all the big commercial projects. A little trip there for your contracting business, painting business, if you're trying to get into the commercial game, because commercial game is not easy to advertise. You have to have those key relationships. All right, parenthesis closes.
I think that was the major rundown of the main KPIs that, we use and somebody else in their own respective business can use and help them track their company's health.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up a little bit based on the tools that we use to track all this. It's nothing sophisticated. It's nothing like crazy software, crazy expensive software. You can keep track of all that. You can have an assistant, and then you can just give them the information, and they can keep track of everything in a spreadsheet. Or if you're more involved in the marketing of your business, and then the lead nurturing and all that, you can use something like High Level. It's a great software. It's easy to learn, and then also the Facebook CRM system, the pipeline. That's phenomenal. But I like using my assistant to keep track of all that. And we just send her the information. She keeps track of everything. She categorizes everything by date, month, week. And then that way, if we need to look at certain weeks, you need to look at certain months, she has everything categorized, and for us to go back and like read and reassess or audit our means.
Yeah, so basically all this keeps your business organized, your work schedule organized. Like we mentioned earlier, each crew knows at least 2 weeks ahead of time where they're going to be and everything. However, at the very beginning, we didn't really know that.
Yeah, we're not very organized in the beginning. Like I said earlier, we're keeping track of everything in a scrap notepad, all the booked appointments, leads, scrambling paperwork, trying to find what I have Monday.
Appointments would be forgotten, and we would reschedule.
Yeah.
The picture of the van with a flat tire. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, we forget appointments because we're unorganized. That's another thing that really helped us keep track of, is like not missing appointments, because we were, especially when we got really busy, we were missing a lot of appointments. It's because it was just the two of us at the time doing estimates. We didn't have sales reps, so it was insane. And then I was like, hey, we can't keep missing appointments. And that's when we hired an assistant. We implemented, just in the beginning, all we did was just have a Google Calendar and an Excel sheet. Reminders for us so we don't forget our appointments.
And then in the very beginning, we didn't really know if we were running a healthy operation, because calculating each project, we wouldn't factor, or at least I wouldn't factor in the operating costs.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say, oh, we would spend like $1,000 in marketing, so we booked 10 jobs. So this job basically cost us $100 to book.
Yep.
So I wouldn't factor that into our net profit margin.
Yeah, that's a few things. Like, if you don't know your numbers, there's no way to say if you're running a healthy business. Or also, if you don't know your gross profit, your net profit, you have to know those things, and the KPIs will help you, because you might be busy, you might be doing a lot of work, but you might just be breaking even. You might not be making any money in your business.
You might be thinking I made $5,000 on this job. Nope, this job has to pay $500 in shop rent, and also $8
internet,
in
utilities,
and all that. So you actually
liability.
made $2,500 from it.
Yep, exactly. So those KPIs will help you know your numbers, keep you organized, and then keeping all the leads organized and nurtured, it's going to help you stay organized yourself as a salesperson, as a business owner, as a manager, whatever it might be. So you're not forgetting appointments, you're always on point. And also, it's going to help you out with the follow-ups, because the follow-up is where the money is. A lot of people, they're not going to be ready to buy now, but they might be ready to buy in a week or 2 weeks. So you have to make certain amount of touches with them. And then those spreadsheets with the leads, opportunities, jobs converted, jobs not converting, follow-up, it's going to help you keep track of all those people. So you can actually hit them with like, hey, are you ready to book? You can stay in touch with them pretty much.
Or even months later down the road. I can say at the very beginning, we didn't really focus on follow-up, but these past few years, our follow-ups have converted into so many booked projects.
100%.
That we would have missed if we weren't, touching base with the client every now and then, or whenever they said, oh, we'll be ready in 3 months.
Yep.
So you keep note of that. Hey, contact them in 2.5 months, just so you make sure they're still willing to go with the bid.
Exactly. Yeah. The follow-up is huge. In the beginning, when we started getting busy and we started getting a lot of leads, we're a little bit cocky. We're like, you know what, we'll go give a price and then screw it. I don't care to follow up, because I'm going to keep getting more leads. But a lot of times, people that were not ready to buy, they were like big jobs, they just weren't ready to buy at the time. And then they forgot about us, or they just found somebody else that was more attentive to them, and then they ended up going with them. That's when we started implementing the follow-up. Those leads, especially the higher quality ones, the higher ticket ones, they just need more time to figure out they want to spend 30, 40 grand with us. That's why the follow-up, making 3 touches and staying consistent on being relevant to them, it's huge. It has changed our closing ratio in our business dramatically.
Yeah, because you're not only selling a great paint job, you're also selling terrific customer service. And we realized that they're buying because this guy is communicative. He's always making sure all my needs are met, making sure, let's say, the deadlines are met. So,
if I have any questions.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the very beginning, when we were getting very busy, since you said that earlier, we would book jobs, and then we would get so excited. We're like, okay, let's do 5 jobs this week. But we were spread ourselves thin, and we would be running around different job sites, having trouble meeting deadlines, overworking ourselves.
It was crazy in the beginning. But you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
You got to get battle tested. So how do we, that was the humble beginnings. We're all over the freaking place, no organization, a lot of inefficiencies. Now we're still improving every day. I'm not saying we're perfect, but we are better than what we used to be. So now we're very big. Like I said, we hired an assistant that all she does is just keeps track of the leads, keeps track of customers, keeps track of our calendars, booked appointments. We use Google Calendar, so we'll get like reminders on our phones so we don't forget about those. And then she keeps our spreadsheets updated every week. So we keep track of jobs booked, we keep track of the leads on those spreadsheets. That way everything is on file. So if we need to look at our performance last 3 months or like a week back in March, it's right there. We just go on our spreadsheets and then we figure out what worked there. We figure out our marketing costs. We figure out why we got so much more work. We look at how much money our key relationships brought. That's how we do things now. Again, it's nothing crazy. It's not sophisticated. Anybody that's running a business at scale can just hire an assistant that they can delegate that work to. Because doing it yourself, we tried it and it was just a clusterfuck. It was so unorganized, stressful, and then very inefficient. You'll start losing money that way. That's why it's better just pay an assistant to keep track of all that, and then so you don't have the headaches.
Yeah, you're worth more per hour, figuratively, working on your business rather than just working on getting it organized.
Yep, 100%, guys. And organization is going to be vital for you to scale your business, your operations, and then start making more money growing your business. And then once you get good on the first steps, then you can get more analytical with like the other key performance indicators, like we said, like tracking your crews, tracking your performance of a cruise, job completion time for each crew. Then that's next level stuff that you can work yourself up to. And then, like as we said earlier, again, beating a dead horse right now, it's simple. Just use spreadsheets. Put everything on a spreadsheet, build the columns, and that's it. Every month, every week, keep them categorized, do different spreadsheets, put them on your archive. That way you have the data, because when you want to grow a business, data is everything. You need to know if your business is healthy, if your business is lacking, if your business is making money, if your marketing is making you money, if your marketing is performing. You need all that data in order to grow.
Yeah, and how detailed we've gotten into that is we keep tabs on all of our projects every week. So we know that for these 4 guys, they've spent here 3 days, so their labor cost, calculating their hourly rate or performance rate too. So every week we see how each project is performing.
Yeah,
and if it's performing up to our initial calculations.
Yeah, so that's called pretty much job cost analysis. So we do that with every project. We set up the system. It's a very simple system. Let's say you have project A, and then you keep track of how many hours or how much labor it went into it, and you keep track of all the material receipts, and then you keep track of how long it took to get the project done. And then at the end, you do the math and you figure out also how much money that project made you. So we do that for every project. It helps us keep track of the performance, and it also helps us keep track of how good we are at selling those jobs, and if we're on point or if we're lacking. So every job, after you're done with it, I suggest, even if you don't want to do it on a spreadsheet or you want to keep track of every job, just get a piece of paper and then break it down. Do like a little crossword or something in columns, and then put, in this job, I had 4 guys for 5 days. They worked X amount of hours. I spent 50 gallons of paint. I bought X amount of roll of tape. My receipts for materials. Boom, I spent $2,000 in materials. And then I charged X amount for the job. What was I left with? And then after what I was left with, what's my percentage for my overhead cost? And then every job we circle the last number, like, hey, this job was actually profitable and it made us X amount. And a lot of times we won't make money on all of the jobs like how we're supposed to, because again, we're not perfect. A lot of people think we're like on point all the time. A lot of times we're underbid jobs. Or a lot of times things will go south. We'll get situations where we didn't account for a lot of things, and then it'll take a little bit longer, or we'll use a little bit more material, and then our number at the end won't be where we need to be. But doing that, the job cost analysis on those jobs that you lose or you take a hit, you'll take the valuable lesson of not doing it again. That's why I say the best lessons are from costly mistakes, because once you take a big hit, and you had a costly mistake, you'll never forget it. And that's why you're going to carry it on the next jobs.
Yeah, it's always good feedback. And how I like to do that is I do the initial expectation of what our take home should be before the project starts. And then at the end, when all the numbers are down, I want to be close to that number or either exactly lower or higher. I would say that's a happy medium. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Because, I mean, the more seasoned you are, like we've been selling paint jobs, I've been for 6 years now for ourselves. You walking into a project, you'll be able to set those expectations right away. You'll be like, okay, this job is gonna cost me 5 G's. I need to take 5 G's on top of it. So that will come with experience. Like us, a lot of times we'll walk into a project and we'll know right away how much it'll cost us to get it done and how much we want to make. That will come with experience. The more you do, the more you repeat them, the better you'll become.
Yeah, when you estimate thousands of projects, you have a pretty good grasp of what it takes for each to be completed.
Exactly, 100%. And then, you set your expectations from the beginning, not just for yourself, but you set those expectations for your crews as well. Like, hey, guys, this job is budgeted for $2,000 in materials. Let's use smaller tips and not blow through 30 gallons of trim paint. That's something that you set an expectation based on knowing expecting what that job is going to cost. And especially if you have crews that are performance pay, they're like, hey, that's how much I have accounted. Let's not drag it out because I cannot pay anymore. This is the budget for the labor. This is for the budget to get the job done. And then when you're transparent like that with your crews, they'll perform better and then be understanding. 8 out of 10 times you'll be spot on. But for those 2 times, your crews are understanding. You'll be willing to take a hit, and then you'll like, okay, what did I do wrong? You go on the drawing board with your cost analysis sheet, and then you're like, okay, I fucked up here. I didn't calculate that it's going to take 10 more gallons here. On the next project, it's going to be similar because history repeats itself. You're going to get similar projects all the time. So the one that you fucked up, it's okay. Now the next 10 ones, you'll be spot on.
Yeah, I would say own up to the blame and take care of your guys because
exactly
will pay dividends.
Yep, 100%. So if you screw up a job, take the hit. Screw it. You don't have to win them all. Take care of the guys. Make sure you get the job done correctly. And then it's not a loss because you just acquired a valuable lesson that you're going to carry for the rest of your career, for the rest of your business. And then you're not going to do it again. All right. I think that wraps up everything about the KPIs, the job costing, and how we keep tracks of all those, all that data.
Yeah, very helpful and then very insightful because some of the stuff I wasn't really 100% aware of them.
Yeah, so like we said, Karmelo runs more of the operational fields. I run more of the financial marketing back end of the business now, so I handle most of it. But still, he knows like how many leads we bring in. He's well aware of like if we're doing good or if we need to do more cabinet jobs this month or if we need to do more interiors, exteriors, and all that.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting and also our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo for more content.
If you guys like this episode or if you got any value at all, make sure you share it with one fellow tradie and fellow painter. Until next time, this is Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
Signing off from the Dirty Painters podcast.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.